Welcome to a tale of outrageous entitlement and sweet, sweet justice, where a snobby couple tries to saddle me with their astronomical restaurant bill. Strap in as I recount the story of how their dine and dash escapade at a high-end French restaurant led to their humiliating downfall and a victory for every hard-working server out there. I worked at a really expensive French restaurant, the kind that I could never afford to eat at. I waited table and am in school for a business degree. Despite my restaurant being very pricey, I earned minimum wage and relied on tips to pay the bills. The restaurant is next to a university, and even though my boss didn't pay us a lot, he still donated huge amounts to the school. One night, the restaurant is really busy, and this couple comes in. They're young and act like the rich kids of Instagram stereotype. I'm assigned their table along with two others. Right away, they start loudly complaining about how I'm too slow. The music is ass. We have a 4-piece chamber orchestra. The menu is hard to understand. It's in French, but the English translations are right underneath. Then they order a $600 bottle of wine. The boss told me that if a person looks young to ask for their ID. I see both their IDs and notice when they have their wallets open that they both have student IDs from the college. They insult me and call me uneducated for not inferring that only adults would be such wine experts. The girl said to her date, "She's trying to flatter you by saying you look young. Look, sweetie," turning to me, "it won't get you a bigger tip, so save the ass kissing." LOL, calling me sweetie? You're like 21 and look like you're an orange fail spray tan high school freshman poseur that just discovered Hot Topic as a shortcut for having any style. I bring them their wine, and while they're ordering, they decide to start making personal remarks to me. Why am I a table attendant instead of having a real job? Is my husband a failure? No, he isn't. He was killed in action in Afghanistan. Or do I even have a husband? How much do waitresses earn? Why don't I speak French if I work in a French restaurant? Is that my beat-up Dodge Neon in the parking lot? It wasn't. I don't have a car. I'm used to all kinds of customers, so I try to just suck it up and do my job. They order all the most expensive things on the menu. I notice they take tons of duck face selfies. Even the guy makes duck face selfies, and I feel like smacking him in the face, but instead, I just refill his water and fetch him another item off the menu. He actually used the word fetch. I serve my other two tables, and thankfully, they're nice and friendly. There's a small nook behind where the snooty couple was sitting, where I grab extra cloth napkins. I was back there, and neither of the two people heard me. They thought I was on the other side of the restaurant. I heard the guy calling me a loser and a pathetic waste, and the girl was saying that they ought to just dine and dash and make my boss stick me with their bill and get me fired. I have no idea why these two were picking on me so much tonight, but who knows why anyone does what they do. They were going on and on about how neither of them would waste their life being a waitress, that they would have careers and would be something in life, not just being people's step and fetch it. I was angry, of course, but you know how people are. Talk is one thing, and action is another. Still, I ought to be ready for anything. I could tell the couple was near the end of their dinner. Their tab was nearly $1,200. Sure enough, the boy says he needs the bill, looking all smug. I knew how dine and cashers operate, and as expected, the girl excuses herself to the restroom, then a minute later just goes out into the parking lot, calls the valet, and he goes off to get their car, even though she doesn't have their ticket. I text the valet and tell him what I think is happening, and tell him not to give the car to the girl unless I text him that the boy paid. He goes off to the corner lot, where he parks all the cars and waits. The boy waits until it looks like I'm occupied with the other customers, but he doesn't know. I tell the maitre d' what's going on, and the maitre d' deadbolts the front door from the inside. He lets new customers in and old customers out, but he locks the door each time and keeps an eye on the boy. We are all working together here because we know that if the boy gets away, dickhead boss will fire me and take as much of the bill off of my pay as possible, leaving me only minimum wage on my final check and no tips. At the same time, The boss is such a kiss-ass that he won't help servers out if they come to him regarding customers who act too entitled. He just lets them treat us like crap, and then fires us if we get cheated. So as I predicted, the boy sits around and then gets up like he's going to the bathroom, because he sees that his car, convertible BMW, has pulled up outside. The valet says to the girl that he can only hand over the keys to the ticket holder, and that's the boy. It's not actually our policy. He'd normally hand over the keys if he were given $10 by the obvious owner or one of the owner's party. But the cheapskate girl wasn't even going to give him his $10, let alone a tip on top. The boy thought he had an opening and made for the door, but it wouldn't open for him. Then he starts trying to look around if there's another way out, but the only other exit is the delivery entrance in the kitchen. He turns around like he's going back to the table, but the maitre d' is in front of him, and I'm next to the maitre d' holding the boy's unpaid check. The maitre says, "Forgetting something?" And by this time I can see the boy's totally disloyal girlfriend try to pay the valet so she can get away. But the valet pulls the key and parks the car and won't give it to her, even though she's telling that she'll call the police. We can hear her through the door. The maitre says, "That's a good idea," and he calls the police. The boy tries to bluff like he's going to get us all in trouble or get tough, but the maitre d' moonlights as a taekwondo teacher and invites him to try to get past him. Finally, the manager comes out, and as expected, he takes the boy's side at first. But by this time, several other customers noticed what was going on and said the boy was a total asshole and a dine and dasher, and if the manager didn't do something about it, they would never eat there again. They stood up for me and said I put up with the two jerks' abuse and shouldn't be punished by their unpaid bill. So the manager filled out a police report, and the boy was telling the policeman that his dad could pay, and we were making a big deal out of nothing. Then my boss noticed the boy attended the school he donated a lot of money to, and got pissed off and told the school about what thieves the little rat boy and his loser girlfriend were. We learned later that they got expelled, and that both now have a police record because they tried to steal and commit fraud for more than $1,000, which I guess is a big deal legally. I think their rich parents got them to avoid jail like normal people, but they still have a record because it's only a misdemeanor if you steal less than $500, and they tried to steal more than twice that in goods and services. Within 3 months, I got a better job working as a teller in a bank. Within another year, I'll finish my business degree and hopefully do what I want to do in life. Regardless though, whatever your job, as long as you're earning an honest living, no one can shame you. There's nothing wrong with being a server, and those two kids were assholes for thinking like that. Everyone has a different path in life. These two's path involves checking the box, yes, next to ever been convicted of a felony. They tried to get me fired. Nah, B. You don't get me fired. I made sure you and your not ride or die chick can never get the career you want now. Better just wait for that inheritance then, jerks. Keep making that duck face, you basic bitch weirdos. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's wild story. We hope it gave you both a laugh and some food for thought. Don't forget to hit that like button if you enjoyed the tale of comeuppance, and subscribe for more content, because you never know what story will serve up next.